This is going to be a way more casual dev blog than the last one. So the last one was really formal. I think it'd be better to do it casually. Also, probably be able to show off a lot more this way. So what you're seeing here is the base, what the game looks like most of the time. It's your heads-up display. It's not generally a term for strategy games, but it's just your default arrangement of UI. So I'll go into what's actually in the world a little later. But first of all, about the UI, it's currently being reworked a little. So it's a bit uneven and it's not at all finished. That's why there's missing icons and weird buttons and stuff like that. And the old design was very blocky. If we look at the population management chart thing, table, whatever you want to call it, we can see we have the blurry, half transparent design, and we also have more blocks of opaque design, and that's the opaque one's the older one, and we're going more towards transparency with a blurred kind of background, which I think looks very nice. But would like to hear some feedback on that. See what do people think. And so this is the population management screen, and we have all our pops here. And from just looking at them via this, you can see that we have an awful lot of pops. I think we're about 15 or so, which isn't actually that many, honestly. Sorry, this is just being annoying because it's not fully finished yet. And just by looking at a pop, we can see it's tribal, so that's its social class, and then we have its young adults, and there's 99 of them. They all start with 100, but because of attrition, this number will gradually go down. And you can merge pops, or we're working on that, and that will be something, maybe automatically. And then you can see some general icons about their current state. But if you look here, you see more information, how much food does it consume, what are its in-depth attributes, and you can do a few things to it. You can also, filter out pops. So for instance, if you only want to look at nobles and slaves, you can just turn off the lower, and we can see we have one tribal noble. And if you only want to look at, say, children, you can turn off the adults and the elders. So it's very simple. Just, for overlooking what's your tribe like right now. Sorry, my mouse is a little weird. And then we have by far the most unfinished thing, which is the cultural kind of traditions tab, which shows some various societal things you can choose with your tribe. So your speed, which is you can choose and modify how fast you want to move, and then you can choose various traditions like how you treat other people and whatnot, which is this is very unfinished, most unfinished part of the game really. And then we have our technological advancements. So this is a lot more finished. This is pretty much, apart from one or two UI glitches, done. And so as you can see, if you wouldn't know how to read this, you wouldn't know. We have research bronze working, research circle of elders, and then after that it's split. And this isn't all the tech tree, by the way. It's a lot bigger. But how it works is that when you research something, you only then get to see what's afterwards. So we don't know what's after burial traditions or innovative focus. And a nice little thing is when you change what type of tech research you've clicked on, the actual background color will change slightly. That's just an aesthetic thing. And we can read a bit about the tech and what it does. So a lot of them are just numerical bonuses, a few percent better and whatnot. But some of them, like burial traditions, allow for graves to be built at a camp, and I'll explain what that does later. After that, we can see about our resources. So we can see we currently have a bit of food, copper, but we don't have anything else. And we can also see, what do we forage and what do we consume. So right now, we're at a deficit, meaning we consume more than we forage, which means we're going to have to find food sooner or later. And then the final one of these little tabs to the bottom left is diplomacy, which is really also quite unfinished. And then up here at the top, we have our top bar that just shows, a few things about the tribe. So how much food do we have? This is how long do we have before we starve, so 5.7 months. And then our people, how happy are they on average? How loyal are they? This is an average though. It means that, might be 95, but there could still be a few people who are really unhappy, and that can cause problems. And then we have our kind of abstracted technology level. So this isn't, an exact measurement. This is we're roughly primitive Bronze Age right now. So that means we have Bronze Age technology, but we are not, not very advanced. And we haven't researched many texts. But, it's not a really hard and fast rule that you're better, because, it depends on what text you're specialised in. And then in the bottom right, we have our prestige. So currently we have 14.248, which is probably too precise, really, for what we need, but it's how much prestige we have. And then you have a little number down here, which is 16, and that's our base prestige. So right now, our prestige is lower than our base prestige. This is because we've got new pops, and base prestige is, it's just a value of how many pops you have of various types, and that's your base prestige, and that's what your prestige will always go towards. But currently, our prestige is a little lower because we just got the pops, and so it has to build up, and it just naturally does that over time. And that also, works inversely. If you've gone won a load of battles, got an additional load of prestige, say if we got 25 instead of 16, we'd be really famous, but eventually that's going to bleed away. And then we have money, which right now we have none of, which might seem a bit weird. Why do we have other resources but no money? That's because actually early on in the game you just don't need money. It's a late game resource. In real life, fiat currency just isn't a thing early on, and you can go fine without it. It's better for stuff later on. Certainly you will need it when you do settle down, but right now completely unnecessary. Instead, the main currency is down here, authority, and that is pretty much just how much can you tell people to do stuff. And making them do stuff means, well, it will cost you authority, and if you're a negative authority, not that you can always get to negative authority, you'll start to have major problems because people are going, hey, this guy's telling us to do too much, he's not really the right person to do this, whatever, and your tribe might start to fall apart. And right now we can actually see we're gaining authority, and you generally do gain authority. And then we can set up camps. That's another option. And camping it has various buffs and debuffs. So it actually means we have, we consume more food because we're not foraging as much because we're in the same place. It also means stuff like we do actually get a bit more authority though, and we can also do stuff like produce stuff. So right now we can produce bronze or pottery, and we can assign people to do that. But as you see, the more people I assign, the more authority I spend ambiently. So, that's something you've got to watch out for. And then we also have structures we can build. Remember one of the technologies said, hey, you can build graves. And that means that you can build graves in one of your camps, which gives various benefits to you. There's also things like, say, stone circles you can build, which will allow you to have a lot more benefits than just, graves. And, it's not just benefits to you, but it's like people going, wow, these people built that, a lot of prestige and whatnot. And from this, we could also found a settlement, but we'll not do that right now. And as you can see, there is a background to this. It's not just, all in the UI. And there's a lot of stuff in this. There's camels, which you can see here, and this is saying, hey, there's some camels here, there's 77 of them, go and eat them, because that's pretty much what you do with herds. You go up to them and you hunt them. There's also things like copper deposits, which are those kind of greenish and greyish blocks here. But the main interesting thing right next to us is this settlement. You can see there's two. There's also a few more over there, which we're not close enough to actually see their UI elements for. And just looking at the UI, we can tell it's neutral to us, we can tell its name, and we can also tell its faction via this little image here. And when we do hover over it, we get told that it's of the Samna culture. and that there's 1,500 people in this settlement. So if we get closer to it, well, I got closer by turning actual speed up, which is something I haven't explained. This little thing up here is just how fast are you moving, and it tells a bit of information about what time of year it is, which right now isn't actually important. Various things to have time. So it is one of those games, where you can change how fast time's moving. So not at all turn-based. And then we get a bit of information about the town here in text form. So it's a small town. How big is it? What type of town is it? What culture and who do they owe their allegiance to? Stuff you can get from the main UI elements out here, but stuff you might want to, maybe just look in here for. It also tells us that it doesn't have any special buildings, so it doesn't have anything like farms or a coin mint or any form of production. It's a very primitive town. That's mainly because I never set that up in this settlement, but it is one of those towns which probably not have much. And then we get some options, so we can trade. Right now they don't actually have anything, so there's no point trading with them. But we could trade our food, copper, and we actually have a few textiles because we killed the camels and skinned them, and we can turn those into textiles. And we can also steal food, which I believe, yes, as you can see up here, it did slightly increase the amount of food we have. And we can also sack the settlement, which we won't do now because that is a bit unfinished, at least in the UI. The actual sacking it's finished, yes. And then we can just leave. And yeah, that is pretty much everything about the game right now, which is, well, not everything, but it's the main bits, the most obvious stuff, the surface mechanics. Thank you for listening. We have a Discord server if you're interested in, finding a bit more about the game out. Thank you.